Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Get ready for some herbal gnosis. Well, I forgot to add one little factor that I've been doing recently here to all my formulas to give them a little extra punch. And again, this is kind of one of those secret ingredients. It also gives it a much nicer flavor if you like it. And what is that? And it's a master healer food. And what is that? Now, I've been reading about this, particularly in any kind of Asian herbal books, is that they use ginger for everything. Ginger is very good for you. And here's a bottle of powdered ginger. Now, it comes in a bag. What did Thor do? Well, I take everything out of the plastic crap and put it in glass. So I've had this for years. It stays perfect. And you have allowed the ginger kind of to aerate, and of course it's not sucking in all the gassing that happens in plastic. Plastic gases. The plastic material turns into a gas and goes into your food. You eat it. It messes up your hormones. It makes you goofy and stupid. You then all of a sudden are a voting Republican. So the whole idea is that watch that nonsense. So what do you do? And the other factor, if you're a person who likes ginger, and I really like ginger, but you know, these herbals are very bitter, a lot of them, and they taste horrible. What do you do about that? Well, you can use the bourbons and so forth, which are the sweeter, and the rums. This makes the formulas taste a lot better by using the right alcohol. You got to remember that vodka and gin are pretty neutral and they don't have much of a flavor, but whiskeys can make them taste a lot better and take away the bitterness. The other thing is to give it a little flavor. And you know, if it doesn't taste good, I mean, there's been cases of people that were basically starved themselves to death than to eat foods they don't like. They did research on that, which is quite interesting. Tastes so bad, life is so bad, you're starving to death, you're living in a hole somewhere. Is it worth it to eat? Well, you tend not even to eat. People have starved themselves to death because they hate their food. So, adding to tinctures and making them taste better and putting in flavorful ingredients generally is something you can do. So if you have a particular spice or herb, generally you can add these into your herbal formulas to make them taste a little better without a problem. So that doesn't hurt the formulas, and that's another kind of stupid way that pharmaceuticals are done. Why not make them taste good? So let's open these puppies up. And again, what you usually put in here, I like a little more than most, but the formulas that we're making that we're going to sell to the public will have about, in the formula, we'll have about a teaspoon and a half of ginger in it. Ginger is a great healer, as I've said, and also has a nice flavor unless it's something you really hate. And that's why we're not putting too much of it in our commercial formulas, because of the fact that people may hate it. So you just, I usually pour in, that's probably about 4 tablespoons. I like it. It's good. I want to put more in mine. And you can do this yourself. As I said, you can add in particular types of things that you find more tasty to make your formulas taste better, especially something like this. Now, something like this is a great healer. Every single Asian herbal book I found, they add ginger into everything. Now, I don't, and claiming that it's a great healer. Now, I don't know if it's just a great healer or if it makes their herbs taste good. I know I had worked with one Chinese herbist who gave me herbs that were so foul tasting that nobody wanted to take them. You're supposed to make these into a tea, etc. Well, what happened is this person was very sick, and they didn't take the tea because it tasted horrible. Now, if he would have made that tea into a tincture, he would have been able to stand it better. And you can cut your tinctures. If you put your tinctures in a little, and I'll show you how to do all that stuff in a little cup or something. Well, at the very least, you can add a lot of water to that, so you cut down the strength of the taste of it. You can mix it with other things. I mean, you can mix your tinctures with just about anything that you like. So it's just as simple as that. Then, of course, since that's put in, you want to do the usual mixing. Turn it upside down, clockwise swirling, back and forth. Voila. It's such a beautiful thing, you know, it's so beautiful. I'm going to start a school just making pictures of this. So the whole idea is that these formulas are easy to do. It's just a matter of getting the stuff you need, being lazy or lack of laziness and getting out and doing it. But when you see how big your wallet is from this and the potency of it, I can't reaffirm enough the potency of this kind of mixtures. And the mixtures that we will be selling is, well, it's 1,000 times more than what you get in those little crap bottles at your health food store, even from legitimate manufacturers. They're not going to put the money in. It's not important enough. You don't need that potency to. Yeah, that's what you say to save money. That's what you say to follow your old world guidelines. I know that works in this bold, cruel new world. And what works is potency. And of course, you don't want to gobble potent stuff down. So you don't want to take a glass full of 90 proof whiskey and drink it. It's stupid. So the whole idea is that you make sure you take the proper amounts, but you make sure if the potency isn't there, it doesn't work. And this is what I've found. To buy an herbal preparation that has 30 ingredients in it, oh, look at all the stuff that's in here. It's just wonderful. Gets you nowhere. There's not enough of anything to do anything. They're fraudulent. And while micronutrients, even herbally based, are good for you to a degree, and maybe they'll help you in the long run, if you're trying to solve some sort of problem with these, basically, this is a food cure. All this is food. None of this is any kind of medication or anything. It's food. This is food. This stuff is you eat this stuff. This is alcohol you drink. It's food. So herbs are nothing more than a food-based treatment. Get well by eating foods. And you can do this obviously with other foods as well, things that are more foody, like melons and other things. But what you're doing here is you're getting all of this food potency. I just can't emphasize that enough. You're never, ever going to get from anybody, even if you go to a professional herbist and they make something for you, because it's a business, you're not going to get the right stuff. They're not going to have the credibility to do things correctly. They're even brainwashed by what their little bookies tell them. I'm not. I measure these things. I take all sorts of higher level measurements, from pendulums to radionic machines. I know what potency is and what works well for most people in these food cures. So the whole idea is that that's what you have to do, not what bookies tell me. So you go by that and you're where we are today. These are good guidelines, good starts. There's basically good information there, but what's the potency? What works? Does drops work? Well, most things that I've taken, and you have to be careful, drops don't work. You gotta take tablespoons, lots and lots, but they're not gonna tell you to take a tablespoon of something that costs $35. Just, you ain't gonna have it. But that's the world out there, people. Know it, understand it, work with it, ultimately overcome it, and change your life.